My involvement was to support the young people, the five that were the original movers, I guess you can call them. Two of my sons were there, two nephews, and my adopted brother, Calvin. So it was all family. We're descendants of MorningStar, Wabanung, the Treaty 5 signatory for that area. The original homeland were those three islands on Lake Winnipeg, Black Island, Deer Island, Hecla Island. That was our home for thousands of years. After the treaty was signed in 1875, they moved off that island to the mainland. And then they started mining in around 1920s. They started taking out that silica sand off of Black Island. And they continued until late 80s. That's when they finally stopped mining that silica sand. And then now they're proposing to do the same thing on the mainland, right in our backyard. And the proposed area is bigger than our community, bigger than Hollow Water. The way it had been set up anyway, after treaty. But we're learning things. We find out today that the reserve boundary is not real. Reserve is like a prisoner of war camp. Up until probably the 50s, our people were immobilized. It was against the law to leave the reserve. And when they did that, they burnt down our mode of travel. They destroyed our canoes, paddles, snowshoes, burned the sleds, harnesses, and killed off the dogs, and stole our horses. Found out that we had horses all the time, Ojibwe ponies. Eastern Ontario kept those ponies. Lac LaCroix, Seine River, around Fort Francis area. They kept those horses alive in the wilderness. The Indian agents, the priests, the police didn't find them. So they're still around. And our dogs are coming back. And the interest about how to travel on the land is coming back. We have lots of people that canoe. We have lots of people now that learn about how to raise sled dogs and run sled dogs. So all of those things are coming back. But the silica sand also, we've learned that it's more than just sand. One of the elders that shared with us about what that sand represents talks about, he said, in the night sky, when you look at that sky and you see that road, Kagagemi forever road. He said, our people, when they pass on, that's where they go. That's those spirits that you see there. He said, well, that sand represents that. He said, in the springtime, when the thunder beings come and they start making their sounds, that's a way that they activate the healing energy of that sand. He said, after that happens in the early spring, then you'll see ants will take that sand into their nest. And then you'll notice the black bear will come and eat the ants and the sand. So that's why amongst our people, the black bear are the clan that's responsible for protection and medicine. Because they know about the land, they know about that healing energy of the thunder beings when they come and activate the healing energy of that silica sand. In fact, he says Anishinaabe used to travel thousands of miles to come to Black Island to find crystallized pebbles of silica sand so that they could use it in their rattles. So when we sound those rattles, that's our way of connecting to our ancestors. That's the way of connecting to Creator, the helpers. And we get guidance and we ask for help. So that sand is very important. Even till today, they still use that sand. In one of our oldest ceremonies, the Middewan Society uses that sand in that lodge. They also use it when it's time to bury people who have passed on, to help them move into spirit world. So that's the significant spiritual knowledge that we didn't know, that the scientists and the government and the industry doesn't know anything about. You know, this land and everything on the land is who we are. That's what it means to be a Anishinaabe. The elders tell us that when the first family was created, Mother Earth, Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sun, Father Sky, and their first children was that air, the water, plant life, animal life, bird life, fish life. We came later as human beings. All those things I mentioned, all of the first creation, that would live forever if there was no human beings. We are not even necessary as human beings. But there's no human being on this earth that would live without water, without air, without plant life, animal life, bird life, fish life. So in that way we're connected. In that way we're all responsible for ensuring that future generations will have something to enjoy as we do. So it's up to us to ask questions of our leaders, the politicians, industrial leaders. What are you doing? Why do you want to destroy this planet? This is all we have. So I think that's what I will leave you with, to think about that. Thank you for listening. Miigwech.